All right, so Canelo-Crawford, you have called it one of the biggest fights ever, and this is your very first boxing promotion. How do you rationalize that?
Yeah, I call it once in a lifetime, and it is one of the biggest fights ever. We're the number 3 biggest gate of all time. We're the number 1 gate of all time in a stadium, and I'm imagining that the numbers are going to do really well too. So I've talked about boxing for a long time, the things I love and the things I hate about it. So to be here, the first fight I ever promote is Canelo-Crawford, and number 3 all time. So,
Big deal.
yeah, it's awesome.
And so you're getting into boxing, starting up the TKO Boxing League. You have said Zuffa Boxing, okay, and that was, when did you announce that? That was recent.
Yeah, and within the last couple months.
Okay. You intend, and correct me if I'm wrong, to apply certain characteristics of the UFC. For example, 1 championship belt, unlike boxing that has 4 major belts. Right. And then you're going to make everybody fight each other when they're supposed to, the best fight the best. But the difference that I'm wondering about is fighter pay, because historically, boxers in championship matches are making a lot more than UFC fighters in championship matches. So what do you do?
Well, there's a handful of guys that always make that kind of money. When you look at the UFC, the money is spread across the entire group of guys. You eat what you kill. I mean, if you are a huge star like Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, many people have proven that they could sell pay-per-views, and you eat what you kill here. We also have guys that would be considered journeymen in boxing who make millions of dollars. So the whole fighter pay thing is completely not true. And what I want to do is, obviously I'm doing this Canelo-Crawford fight, and I don't think anybody's questioning what these two are going to get paid.
Well, I am, because it's not on record. What's the base purse for Canelo?
Well, imagine what it would take to get Canelo to fight Crawford and have a guy move up weight classes when he's undefeated.
I've heard $100 million.
Probably.
But no one in the UFC's ever made that as a base purse.
Conor McGregor?
$100 million. But that was against Floyd in a boxing match. Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
So
what about Crawford? What's he getting?
Who?
Crawford.
I don't know. I actually don't even know. So that deal was cut with Sheikh Turki in Saudi Arabia. And basically in 26, I'm going to start my show. And what I'm going to do is basically like the Contender Series. The best will fight the best. Undefeated guys will fight undefeated guys. And what you will do is you will care about the first fight of the night and not just the main event. So I will build stars, put on great fights, and then these guys will graduate, and fight with Sheikh Turki, and they will determine, how much they get paid. And
okay, so you will help raise these boxers, and then once they reach the potential of a Canelo, let's say, they're going to make the big money with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, they're going to make big money here too. I mean, considering where they are. I mean, if everybody likes to throw the fighter pay out there, yet nobody does their homework. It's just a fun little, soundbite. Most of these guys that fight in boxing make $100 a round. Some guys will fight for a title for $15,000. So, everybody talks, but nobody does their homework. These guys that fight in my league, they're going to get paid.
You mentioned that round and how much they make. I think the Muhammad Ali American Boxing Revival Act is going to make it so that they would get, I think, a minimum $150 per round. You support that legislation, right?
100%, yeah.
How necessary is that to get passed in order for you to operate in boxing like you do in the UFC?
Yeah, I think that, I'll give you an example. If you look at the UFC, we bought the UFC for $2 million. And if you paid attention today, the stock is at $200 a share. So when you can, I don't know if there's ever been a sport or a business or anything that's ever existed where trillions of dollars in revenue were generated. And at the end of the day, there's nothing there. What we did with the UFC is turned the UFC into an NFL, an NBA. There's a league, you reinvest back into the sport, and other people want to invest in the sport, whether it's sponsors or, any of these financial firms, whatever it may be. That's what needs to be done with boxing too, and that's what I'm going to attempt to do. Listen, there's no ego or arrogance whatsoever when I talk about getting into boxing and trying to fix it. because this is a busted sport.
I gotta challenge you on this, though. When you say that no one does their research, how can we when the Nevada Athletic Commission no longer releases fighter purses?
Why don't they?
You tell me.
Oh, I have no idea. You're going to have to ask a commissioner that question. But all that stuff is supposed to be transparent, but there's got to be other, California or some of these other states that would release them to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Not in Nevada since 2020. But then, let's take the last championship fight in the UFC, Duplessis and Chimaev. I think, what did Duplessis make? $1 million base pay?
Ask them. It's not my place to talk about. That's the other thing, too. There's no gag order on any of these fighters. They could all sit down and do full interviews with you guys on how much they make and what they were paid. They don't want to because they don't want you to know what they got paid. When people find out what you made, it makes life a lot tougher. There's a lot of people sitting around looking for handouts when they find out you made millions of dollars. But any of these fighters, you could do interviews with any of them. They could lay out their entire pay structure for you. But it's kind of weird. None of them do it, right?
If you are to rebuild boxing from the ground up, how long will that take, do you think?
I don't know. I think that we could do really good things over the next 2 years.
2 years, okay. We'll check in back at that time. And then the last thing, how many fighters do you have on your roster for Zuffa boxing?
Yeah,
currently?
so right now we probably have between 60 and 70 fighters under contract.
How are you convincing them to go with you as opposed to the traditional promoter route?
Well, I think that the great thing about it is there's a lot of options. That Eddie Hearn is a great promoter. He's very successful, and in my opinion, he's a good guy. I like him very much. You got Frank Warren out in the UK too, who's very successful and does well. There's options. So, we're all going to have to compete, and we're all going to try to be better than the other guy to get the best talent.
So you're saying you are competing with the other promoters?
I compete with the NFL. I compete with the NBA. I compete with big movie studios. Whatever takes your attention on Saturday night is my competition. So as I get into boxing, it's a totally different world than MMA. I've been doing this for 25 years, right? This is 26 is going to be my first year in the sport. So I will definitely be competing with the Eddie Hearns and Frank Warrens of the world. But I look forward to it.
Dana White, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.